All right, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a deep, ancient, and completely unseen psychological rivalry, humanity versus Iblis. By drawing on Islamic theology and esoteric texts, we're going to map out a hidden conflict that the source material says is unfolding all around us, literally right now.
So let's start with a really profound question. Long before human beings ever took their first breath, who or what was actually building cities and ruling this very Earth? It's the kind of question that completely flips our perspective on planetary history.
Part 1. Earth before humanity, the era of Jinn.
To understand our present reality, the texts say we've got to look into the hidden history of the unseen realm. And what's really wild here is that Earth was once ruled by the Jinn. These were beings with immense strength and high technology. But here's the kicker. They were the absolute first to carry the gift of free will. And, well, having the freedom to choose also means you have the freedom to rebel, right? Their civilization ultimately spiraled into devastating bloodshed and war.
The sources literally trace this out as a cosmic timeline. It starts with their creation from smokeless fire. From there, the Jinn spread across the Earth and built their empires. But Era 3 brings that widespread rebellion we just talked about, which leads to a violent downfall, ending with angels physically banishing them to the far corners of the world. And that leaves us at Era 5, a hauntingly empty Earth quietly awaiting a successor.
Section 2. Fire versus Clay, the inciting incident.
This empty stage sets the scene for a massive cosmic clash. To really get this rivalry, we have to look at the fundamental differences in how these beings were made. Angels, pure light, perfectly obedient, zero free will. But Jinn are made of fast, hot, smokeless fire, while humans are fashioned from heavy, earthly clay. And both Jinn and humans share that incredible but incredibly volatile gift, free will.
And this fundamental difference sparks what the sources essentially call the first racism in history. When commanded to bow to the newly created human, Adam, a Jinn named Iblis flat out refused. Looking at his fiery origin and Adam's heavy clay, he arrogantly deduced that fire is simply superior.
But hold on, if we impartially analyze esoteric texts like Mansour al-Hallaj's Tawasin, we find this fascinating alternative view. Here, Iblis is described as Majnun, basically made crazy by his overwhelming, thunderous devotion to God. In this perspective, he simply couldn't bring himself to bow to a mere mortal because of his intense, exclusive focus on the divine. Section 3. The Strategy of Whispers, the Cosmic War Plan.
So regardless of his exact motives, pure arrogance or misguided devotion, Iblis is cast out, and this launches his ultimate, ongoing tactical warfare against the human mind. The texts point out that he doesn't command direct rebellion. He's way more subtle than that. He methodically attacks human consciousness from 4 distinct directions: the front, behind, the right, and the left. He completely surrounds the human experience to silently plant doubt.
We see this exact game plan play out in Paradise. I mean, he didn't bust in with an army, right? Instead, narratives describe him patiently slipping into the thoughts of Adam and Hawa, just using soft whispers and false promises to make the forbidden look beautiful, guiding their own free will toward a mistake.
And man, this psychological warfare hit the Earth fast, manifesting in the tragedy of Qabil and Habil, or Cain and Abel. Qabil murdered his own brother. It's devastating proof that Iblis absolutely does not need physical weapons. A single whisper into a burdened, unchecked human heart is more than enough to spill blood.
Section 4. The test of free will, why it happened.
This obviously brings up a massive question. Why would a supreme creator even allow this deception to happen on Earth? Well, the sources point to a deep paradox in our human condition. On one hand, we possess immense spiritual light, right? We're capable of recognizing profound truths. But on the other, we are literally creatures of dust, constantly pulled toward lower material desires. It's a relentless tug of war. Because of this paradox, Iblis actually serves as a necessary catalyst. Think about it. Without struggle, humans just get careless. The friction pushes us to grow. But the texts note a crucial divine exception here. Iblis has zero true authority over the righteous. Righteousness is essentially our only true immunity against those whispers. So, to navigate this test, the source material asserts we have to accept our current invisible reality. It states that Jinn are actively coexisting with us right now.
They have their own societies, they can see us even though we can't see them, and during moments of spiritual emptiness, these whispers can circulate within a human mind almost like blood flowing through your veins.
Section 5. The ongoing cosmic battle. Iblis today.
Bringing this into the modern era, writer Omar Zayed defines a condition he calls insan. He describes it as a state where humanity essentially loses its God-given common sense. In this state, people unwittingly dance to the tune of unseen manipulators, even going so far as cheering for chaotic, destructive causes, totally convinced that they're doing something righteous.
And what's really interesting here is how Zaid's analysis connects this ancient rebellion to certain modern fraternities and authorities. He suggests they essentially act as the hidden hands of Iblis, institutionalizing deception on a global scale just to keep humanity distracted and disconnected from higher truths.
He argues that by throwing out transcendental truths in favor of pure materialism and ego, modern society is unknowingly submitting to the exact same arrogant ideology that caused Iblis to fall in the first place. It's the illusion that we are our own ultimate authority, with zero spiritual accountability.
Which brings us to his ultimate long-game strategy. Iblis doesn't actually need to destroy us from the outside with massive armies. He just waits. He watches us build our towering modern cities and quietly whispers the very disease of pride that destroyed him. You are better. You deserve more. It's the ultimate silent trap of the human ego.
So, as we wrap up this explainer on the epic psychological rivalry between humanity and the unseen, amidst all the towering distractions and the constant silent whispers of the modern world, which voice are you choosing to listen to? Because the sources warn us, your answer doesn't just define your life, it defines your entire reality.